Good morning, everybody. I'm Ross Cook. I'd like to welcome you today. You can find me at Ross Cook Balancing. We're going to talk today about a type of decision that gets made all of the time in our life. We're always making these decisions and the process of them, okay? How do decisions get made? Hi, Jenny. Misty and I are here doing this Facebook Live for everybody. One of the things that goes on, this all comes from a wonderful book called The Upside of Irrationality by Dan Ariely. And in this book are 30 or 40 brilliant nuggets like this, any one of which is enough to allow you to begin to refactor your life. This is about self-hurting. Self-hurting, that's right. We self-hurt ourselves through our decisions and our emotions and our behaviors. He says that essentially we go through an action, there's a decision made, then we get emotional about that decision, then we take a short-term action, we decide something, we act out something, and then it becomes a long-term decision and action over time, and that is, and then we replicate those again and again and again in our lives, okay? He tells a story, Dan tells a story of self-hurting, of when, let's say, a man is a project leader and he has these teams that are going to answer to him, and he has found that when he goes, and it's a big meeting, they have a big meeting once a month or something like that every 3 weeks, and they all get together, and because the teams don't interact with each other, when the teams first get together just prior to the meeting, they're all happy. And they're all jumping around and talking to each other and having wonderful, affable times. And they're really enjoying what they're doing in their job, and they're enjoying seeing their compatriots, and everything's going great. Okay, but on this particular day, the boss in question says, oh man, he checks his phone on the way to work and he realizes he missed a critical deadline for a class in pottery he wanted his children to take. And he gets disappointed in himself. He gets down. He starts to cycle down, and he's like, oh man. And then his emotions, he's feeling strong emotions. And then he's very concerned, if not afraid, that his wife's going to be upset with him because it was his responsibility to do this. And he starts worrying about that. And he starts going down and down and down. And so he shows up at this meeting that has been going on for many, many months. The project has lasted a long time, and everybody's having a good time and visiting, and they're proud to be there. And he walks in and says, time is money. What are you doing? Sit down. Let's get going. Let's stop wasting time. And so he throws an action out there. Now, did he actually sit down and decide to do that? Well, it's a decision nonetheless, according to the operational definitions of Dan Ariely. He says, yes, he makes that short-term action, and boom, you get in line, everybody be quiet, sit down, let's get to work, time is money. Now, those emotions and what he was going through in something that didn't have anything to do with these people over here, those emotions caused a behavior. And those behaviors are going to cause a certain kind of reactions inside his teams, okay? So he goes home that night, and he realizes the meetings go fine. He starts them. They're very authoritarian. They're very top-down. They're very traditional, the way we've often seen meetings run. And then he goes home that night, and his wife doesn't really care that he missed the deadline. She's fine. She's good. She says, matter of fact, she maybe had a better, different idea about something for the kids. And everything that he worried about wasn't really real. It was just something he felt, and he created it. How do you think every meeting from then on is going to start? They're going to start with a top-down authoritative. He's going to walk in the room, and people are having a great, good old time visiting with each other, loving being team members. Those people, they see him, and they're going to be like, ugh. And they settle down hard and fast to get into the meeting. Time is money. And then so he's going to stay in the time and money behavior pattern. Bam, bam, bam. Well, Dan is very quick to make, that's a self-hurting behavior. They're self-hurting to you. You're self-hurting yourself. He's also saying that in the middle of that, we don't remember the emotion that caused us to create this short-term bunch of actions that then ended up being long-term bunch of actions. They end up being things over time for us for really a long time, and they get their own life, but we don't remember what caused them. He makes the point of, can you remember what happened last Tuesday at 3:35 and what you were feeling like? No. He says you can't remember that, but I can tell you what, there's a very high likelihood you can remember what you were doing, how you were acting at that particular day. And oddly enough, in our practice, we do a lot of that while we're searching for things to heal and change. Yeah, we don't remember the emotion, but we do remember the actions, okay? We remember them. Now, think about what gets colored by those actions and decisions we've made. So decision to emotion to short-term decision to long-term decision. Our logic, our choices, our reasoning, our continual behaviors get wrapped up in that, okay? Something that goes a little bit along with this is when we, and I'm not casting stones at being emotional. I'm not casting stones at making decisions. That is the network. That is how it works. We have something happen and our emotions come up first, even though we think we're being analytic. Our emotions come up first, and then they come up and then they relate to other emotions, and they are causal to our behaviors. That's exactly what I'm standing behind. You have to be mindful and careful. That's why people say stand on the bridge and watch your internal and external life go underneath the bridge, so that you can get some perspective and attempt to remember what those emotions were that were going on back then, and then just go back and embrace those emotions with your values and heal them and hang out with them and stay with them. Otherwise, we're going to end up dealing with the symptomology of the actions that come from those emotions, okay? Here's another example of that. This is not in the Upside of Irrationality book, but it fits very well here. You know, when a relationship gets hurt, we all say, well, their heart got broken in the middle of that. I think what really got broken was we hold expectations of what something's going to be like. We look into our future and it's going to be like this, and we build these stories and we build these stories. That's what gets hurt. The emotions then aren't going to be fulfilled, and then, oh my goodness, what's that going to mean like? So what am I going to feel like? I felt secure in that I knew these wonderful things were going to happen, and I felt good about that. So what's new about me now? You know, what am I going to fill that with? What happens is we jump to a behavior, we jump to a decision, we make a bam statement, then we make that short-term statement, and it's just a short-term statement based on the emotion. And then what happens? Then we make another statement to support this statement, and bam, 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 statement, when in truth, really, we have to just get at oneness with the emotions that caused it from the beginning. This is Dan Ariely, The Upside of Irrationality. It's a brilliant book. And this is just one little piece of the wonder that he puts out there. This is standard fare in our practice of how do you change and heal your life at the Center for Balance and Effective Communication and at Ross Cook Balancing. This is the basic stuff of how long-term decisions, long-term actions, short-term decisions, short-term actions, and the emotions that accompany them are all put together, de-energized, and then we have a bunch of energy, and we can change it to any emotion and any feeling we want from then on. And that's what we do. It's standard fare at what we do. It's miraculous. It's beautiful. It's life-changing, and we've been doing it for 26 years. I'd love to see people like Dan Ariely using science and everything to support and be in the same river with us about what's possible about change. Hey, it's a beautiful day here. I hope you have a magical day. I hope you examine your emotions some. In Journeying Within is how adults grow. It's a beautiful day. It's really cold here and really nice, but we're going to have a magical day. There's so many wonderful things happening in our lives right now that I think it's actually going to be a very comfortable, warm, snuggly, but working weekend. And I'm really excited about it. I hope you have a great day. I hope you slightly change your day differently so it's imaginative and dreamlike and new and productive and fun and interesting and inspiring. We'll talk to you again soon. I'm Ross with the Center for Balance and Effective Communication, Ross Cook Balancing. And until we talk again, Jomo.